Today we're going to break down one of the biggest, if not the biggest, financial stories of the year. Gold's just absolutely incredible record-shattering run.
All right, let's just jump right in with the number that really tells the story here. We're talking about a gain of around 30% for gold year to date in 2025. And it's not just a steady climb, it's been hitting fresh record highs over and over again.
And look, this isn't just a strong performance, it's been absolutely dominant. This surge has basically made gold the undisputed champion asset of the year. I mean, it's outpacing stocks, bonds, and yeah, even those headline-grabbing cryptocurrencies.
So the big question, right? What is the engine behind this historic rally? Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. It's actually a super powerful combination of four different forces, and they're all pushing in the exact same direction.
Okay, driver number one, and this one is huge. We're seeing this relentless, systematic buying from central banks all over the world. And let's be clear, this isn't them just dabbling. No, this is a strategic, long-term shift in how they operate.
And this isn't some new fad. We're talking about 4 straight years of massive buying from these banks. It's created what a lot of analysts are calling an official sector floor. So think of it like this. It's a super strong baseline of demand that puts a solid support under the price. It kind of prevents it from falling too far, even while it's smashing through new records. All right, let's move on to our second driver, because this is where things get even more interesting. It builds right on top of that central bank foundation. What we're seeing is a complete 180 in how investors, both regular folks and the big institutions, are behaving.
So for years, money was flowing out of gold funds. But now, investors are jumping back in with both feet. We've seen 2 quarters in a row of what can only be described as hefty inflows into these gold-backed ETFs. It's like pouring rocket fuel on a fire that was already burning pretty bright, thanks to all that central bank buying.
Factor number 3 is gold. Just doing what gold does best, right? It's playing that classic, time-tested role as the ultimate safe haven when times get weird and uncertain. And let's face it, 2025 has been pretty uncertain. I mean, just look around. Investors are seeing a world that's still wrestling with sticky inflation, government debt loads that are just historically high, and, a general sense of what are they gonna do next from policymakers. So in a world full of these nagging risks, it's no surprise that a lot of people are turning back to gold as their go-to financial shock absorber. And that brings us to our fourth and final driver. This one's a bit different. It's a much broader, more long-term strategic shift that's happening between countries all over the world. We're talking about the de-dollarization narrative. So what is that? Well, to put it simply, it's this strategy where countries are actively trying to depend less on the US dollar. And when they start looking around for a reliable asset that isn't tied to or controlled by any one single country, well, gold becomes the pretty obvious choice, right? Which makes it a huge beneficiary of this whole global shift. Okay, so you've got these 4 really powerful forces all working together. The natural next question is, just how impressive has gold's performance actually been, especially when you stack it up against some of the other major assets out there? Well, the numbers really do put it all into perspective. Gold hasn't just done well, it has blown past other major assets. It's leading its so-called digital competition, Bitcoin, and it has left the traditional safe havens like 10-year treasury bonds completely in the dust. I mean, it's not even close. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at this quote from the asset management giant BlackRock. They say it plain as day. Gold's leadership this year, it isn't some side story. It is the main event in the entire macro landscape. So all this incredible performance naturally makes you wonder about the future, right? I mean, gold is already flying high. Where do the experts think it's going next? And maybe more importantly, what could possibly stop this train? Well, if you look at the big institutions, the outlook is really, really bullish. We're talking about top firms like UBS pointing to the exact same drivers we just walked through as the reason prices are going to keep climbing. They're targeting $3,500 by the end of this year, and maybe even $3,700 by the middle of 2026. Wow. But okay, let's pump the brakes for a second. It's super important to stay grounded here. After a run this strong and this fast, we have to ask the question, right? What could possibly go wrong? The biggest threats are really the classic bad guys for gold, those macro headwinds. So think about a sharp, out-of-nowhere spike in real interest rates, or if the US dollar suddenly got a lot stronger. Both of those things could put serious pressure on the price. And there's another risk. What if that central bank buying cools off faster than anyone expects? That floor of support we talked about could get a little softer. All right, let's wrap this up and tie it all together. We've looked at the performance, we've gone through the drivers, we've even talked about the risks. So, what's the bottom line? What are the big takeaways from gold's incredible story in 2025? I think the most important takeaway for 2025 is that gold's role has really changed in a fundamental way. It's gone from being that thing you just buy for protection, a defensive asset, to being the outright leader of the pack. It's the benchmark performer now. And it's not just about the price on a screen. This whole performance is backed by a truly unprecedented wave of demand. We're talking by value a staggering record of $132 billion, and that was just in the second quarter alone. That's a massive number. Which kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about. Is this historic surge in gold a sign of its own strength? Like we're in a new golden era for the metal itself? Or is it really just a reflection of some deep, deep fear about where the global economy is headed, making it the ultimate fear gauge for the market? Now that is the big question heading into 2026.